Hello everyone and welcome back to Ron's studio. We are going to be giving a demonstration, instructional demonstration on how to embellish the wire frame structures. Now many of you will have these structures right now and then you're going through this virtual lesson of how I embellish the structures. First of all, we need plastics. As many of you know, plastics is a very dangerous material that's very plentiful in our society. It's damaging the environment, it's damaging land, it's damaging oceans. Many of you are aware how it's killing marine life. And plastic, the manufacturing of plastic is on the uprise. It's increasing. And they are saying that by the year 2025, the manufacturing of plastics will double from what is currently at. And Exxon and Mobil have just joined forces with a major Arabian company. They're going to be opening the largest plastic manufacturing company in the world. So plastic is very dangerous. And this project, which is a global project, international project, we have 4 international artists and approximately 10 artists from the United States who are working with these structures. It's called HAF Connects. It's connecting our global, local communities, bringing awareness to the manufacturing and consumption of plastic. Plastic is very, very dangerous. So we are going to be embellishing these cone structures. And around me you see some of the cone structures that I embellished, and some of the cones from Ghana are here. We're going to be using everyday plastics that you find in your household. Today we're using a plastic chip bag, a plastic grocery bag. We have plastic laundry detergent bottles, plastic bleach bottles, and plastic juice bottles. These items you'll find in your house very easily. So once you start collecting these items, you'll see exactly how much plastic we use in our household. So along with the plastic material, we're going to be cutting the plastic. I use scissors, a very, very sharp knife. Be careful. Make sure if there's a younger person, have some supervision. And I use a roller blade, which most of you will not have, and also a punch to punch holes into plastic to secure it to the frame. So first of all, we're going to actually cut some sheets, some strips of plastic from the bag. And you can use scissors, which you just cut in thin slices. But since I have the roller blade, I'm going to do this because it's much quicker. But your scissors will do just as good a job. It just takes a little longer to do. Just cut, be very careful, strips of plastic. And I'm going to embellish the cone with 3 different techniques, with 3 different types of plastics, to give you an idea of what you can do. You may choose to use another technique. You may choose to use one of the samples techniques that I'm going to be showing you today. So you continue to cut sheets, strips of the plastic. And what you're going to end up with is like maybe these are like 10 inches in length, and you want to just tie them onto the frame. It's a regular knot. Just continue to tie these. So this particular plastic is going to be at the very top of the cone structure. And just wrap them around each around like several on one particular wire. So how many of you are aware of the dangers that plastics have on the environment? How much do you know about it? Just ask yourself that question, and if you have answers, just sort of like think about it, and just what you've seen on the news, what you see in the media, just kind of like recall some of the damages and dangers that plastic is having on the environment. I have been working with plastics for about 2.5 years, and I started working with plastics as a result of I am curator publisher of an online arts magazine called High Arts Friday, and we've been featuring. I started to see a number of artists around the world. This is an international artistic platform that I work with. I've developed. I started about 4 years ago, and I started seeing a consistency of artists in different parts of the world, like Korea, El Salvador, Ghana, and they were all using plastics and creating these magnificent pieces of art, and they were all addressing the environment, and they were all making a statement of how plastics is damaging the environment. And I saw a consistency with artists living in coastal regions, specifically the coast of in the United States, the North Coast, West Coast, and also the coastal areas in Ghana, coastal areas in Korea, and El Salvador. And one thing about the coastal regions, plastics is constantly being brushed and washed up on shore. So a friend of mine, Patrick Tago Turkson from Ghana, he has been working and collecting flip-flops, the rubber flip-flops that you wear. Well, apparently those flip-flops are a constant item that washes on shore. And Patrick creates these magnificent tapestries from flip-flops. So it's just an amazing phenomenon that's happening to our waters, to our oceans, to our land, and much of the United States. Plastic waste is being put in landfills. In 2018, China put a ban on importing plastics because the U.S. and many European countries were exporting plastics to China, and China was buying this from these countries, our country included. So in 2018, China said no more. We cannot buy any of your plastics. We are not polluting our own environment for your benefit. So now, as of 2018, the United States has to either burn the plastics, which is very toxic to the environment, or they most oftentimes, they put them in landfills. So we are doing this project just to bring an awareness to our local community and to show how much of a problem this plastic is around the world. So we're getting closer. You just want to fill this up as thick as you want. The thicker the better. And we're just going to do a sample. So we're not going to like completely fill in every space. We're going to give you an idea of how you can embellish your cone structures. this is a good time to also talk about what our societies all over the world is going through right now with the pandemic, the COVID-19 epidemic virus that's making way around the world. Many programs are now going to a virtual platform. We had planned to do these workshops locally and within the face-to-face in the community. But since the pandemic struck, a lot of places are closed. They're not having large groups of people gathering. So we have developed a virtual platform for our project, which is currently underway. We recently got a grant from the Cleveland Foundation to explore this project. So we're doing it virtually. And many of you have your cones already, the wire-shaped cones, and now this video is basically giving you some instructions on how to embellish your cones. So I'm going to do one more section. I'm going to fill this top part in a little bit more, and then we're going to go to another material. We're probably going to go to the plastic laundry detergent bottles next. Yeah, last year I recently did a workshop with third graders. So the third graders, which are like 8 and 9 years old, they actually they built their own cone shapes out of wire, and then they each embellished their own frames. So it was a very interesting lesson. It was a 10-week course that these third graders created some really remarkable looking cone structures. And they all use different types of plastic, and they use different techniques of embellishing the plastics. So if third graders can do it, it should be very, very easy for you. I've been exhibiting my plastic work in Cleveland, Ohio area for the last 2 years. I was in Cannes Triennial. I've been in Firefish, Room to Let 2 years in a row. Most recently, I had a work of mine in plastic that was exhibited in Turkey. So I have a lot of international exposure as well as locally and nationally. And as you see, it just keeps the more you add, the fuller it gets, and the more interesting it gets. So it does take a little time. Okay, we have a couple more to add. So you get an idea of how you can embellish with the softer plastics. So now we're going to go to harder plastics. We're going to start with the really colorful. Most of the laundry detergent bottles are really, really colorful, and they're actually fun to work with. But you're going to need a really sharp knife, and I would suggest if you are, like challenged with your age or dexterity, you want to have an older person, a parent, or an older sibling cutting the plastic for you. So you just take the knife, and once you start moving with it, the plastic is pretty easy to cut. It's not that thick, as you can see. Then once you get it to this point, you can actually start cutting with scissors. Or you can continue using a knife. I'm going to actually get this is a tool that I have. I have been cutting so much plastic that I've developed arthritis in my thumb. So I purchased this electric scissors. So I'm going to use this, but you'll just use regular scissors to cut it. And once you get to that point, I usually use 3" by 3" squares to cut. So you can actually take it, a pencil or pen, and just mark. You can cut this in any shape you want, but I'm going to be cutting in 3" by 3" squares. So I just mark off the squares with a pen or marker. And then you cut with scissors. And I'm going to cut also some strips. And this is the handle. And I think the handles are really interesting because they remind me of African masks. And some of the students in the past who have actually attached the this part, the handle, as a mask. So we're going to attach the handle portion onto the frame, which makes it look like a mask. And the whole piece is developed. It's sort of like getting a essence of sort of an African structure. So we're going to add this at some point. Okay, I have with me an owl, which is a point tool, which is able to put holes in things. So we're going to use that tool to put holes in the plastic. You can just find any kind of pointed tool in your house that you can use to punch holes into the plastic. And it's like I said, the plastic at this point is pretty thin, so it doesn't take much force to go through the plastic because it's not very heavy. Okay, I'm going to punch holes in the little strips that we cut. You can add those. And we're also going to need like a thin gauge wire. So I'm going to use the wire to attach it to the frame structure. And this wire here, you can also use string, but wire it works better because it's stronger, and you can actually attach the plastic to the wire frame easier with wire. And in addition to the wire, you're going to need some wire clippers, wire cutters. So you want to just cut some length of wire, and I'm cutting about 4 inches in length. Okay, we're going to start. You just take the wire. I'm just experimenting. You can curl the square and attach the wire. Wrap it around the frame so it wraps around the frame, and then attach it, pull it through the other end of the plastic cube. And then you can just attach it by just wrapping the wire around the frame. and you twist the wire and cut off the excess. And once you cut it, you want to to prevent getting cut, you want to take the sharp end and just curl it around to the back, so the sharp end of the wire is not exposed, so no one handling the cone will be able to get cut. And once you start working with the material, you'll figure out an easier way, a way that's better for you to attach the plastic. These are just suggestions.